Well met and welcome back. I'm Garrett Weinzerl, and this is The Angry Chicken, a podcast about Hearthstone. And with me, as always, is Jocelyn Moffat.
Hello.
Hi, welcome back. Dills is out this week, everyone, so it's just the two of us tonight. So, I guess you'll have to deal with it. I don't know what else to say. How you doing this week, Joss?
I am not too bad. I'm a little bit tired. I played about 20 hours of Hearthstone on Saturday and Sunday combined, so I'm a little bit, I'm not going to use the word burnt out yet, but I'm getting there.
I know that feeling, man. So, was it last week or was it 2 weeks ago where you said that, where you declared that you're going to be making the push to Legend?
I think that I actually made the decision 2 weeks ago. I think. Okay.
Right.
And I think that's when I talked about it on the show, because I think by the end of the show I was just like, okay, you know what, guys, I'm going to do this. So season started a week ago, and I've been pushing pretty consistently. I started at rank 20 because of how far I got the previous season. And so, yeah, I'm up to 14, and it's been a lot of work. And yes, I didn't really get to mention last week, but I was going to say chat room/Twitter has been so super awesome and supportive. They actually made me a hashtag. So if you want all the updates on my push to Legend, you can just check the hashtag JOCE, J-O-C-E, to Legend. And yeah, I'm just blown away by all the support. But it's a grind and a half, dude.
You're damn right it is. All right. Here's the thing, and I'm going to level with everyone right now. When you do a show about a video game, like on a regular basis, folks on the internet like to, they like to judge you, and they like to they like to just sound off in your direction via Twitter, YouTube comments, iTunes, however they can find a way to comment on what they think of your opinion, and while that obviously this is a hobby that we kind of we signed up for, so we should, to a certain degree, we should be okay with that, and I am. But that's usually why I don't say things out loud like, I'm pushing for Legend this season, because then I'm like afraid that people are going to start, expecting certain things from me that I'm not even sure I can achieve. So I've been really surprised and like proud of the reaction you have gotten from the interwebs, Jocelyn, because folks have been just downright awesome.
Oh my God, they've been so fantastic. And I had some pretty rough points over the weekend where I tweeted out some stuff where I was just kind of like, I was getting frustrated. I was getting upset. There was actually one point where I got all the way up to 13, and then I fell all the way back down to 16. And then I got all the way back up to 14 and 1 star again. And I'd played for about 6 hours straight, probably. And so I was sitting there, and I went back down to that 1 star, and I literally started crying. I was sitting in front of my computer, and I was so upset, and I was so frustrated that I was just like literally tears pouring down my face. And I tweeted out, and I'm just like, I need to eat. I shouldn't have played today. Like, and then everyone just freaked out and was like, you're amazing, you can do it, Joss to Legend, hashtag, and I'm like, deep breath, keep playing, you can do this for the fans.
Yeah, it can be really tough, and honestly, I mean, I've never really made a hard push for Legend either. I've gotten up into the single digits. I've gone as far as 5 multiple seasons, and then it just, I don't know, I get kind of burnt out. I start playing Arena. I just start trying to clear the log of dailies I've let just pile up while I've just ranked up, and one thing or another, I just never really do it, and I almost never make a hard push at the beginning of a month. So you kind of, I don't know, hitting the, really pushing hard for Legend is, I don't know, lit a fire under my ass as well, because this is the fastest I've ever ranked up in such this early of the season. I hit rank 9 today.
Nice. Rank 9 is the best that I've ever done, and the only time that I usually play ladder are the last 2 weeks of the month because I don't want to play with all the people that are pushing to legend and that are,
Yeah.
really freaking good. Because the number, I mean, even still today, so we've had Sunday last weekend was part of the season, and then we had Saturday and Sunday this weekend, and even with like 3 weekend days, I was still facing like every other person I faced was either a golden hero or a legend card back. And I was
Mhm.
just like, damn it, like
Yeah. No, that's
go, shoo, get up there.
yeah, no,
Let me play actual rank 14 people, please.
yeah, I've been it's exact same thing. I've earlier on in Hearthstone, I definitely put like I played a lot in the early portions of the season in ranked. But it was I feel like anytime I pushed really hard this early in the season, it was like right after I don't know, something like Nax was released, or there was a big balance change to a couple cards. So there was the meta was either in the middle of shifting or it hadn't been figured out yet. So this is the first time I've really given it a push when the meta's been established, and man, I've been learning a lot.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like I mean, I not necessarily complaining, but I definitely had a tough weekend on the ladder, and that's one thing that I'm trying to take away from it is that I'm actually learning a lot. Like I have I just oh, I don't know. It's just there's a message in the chat room that totally threw me off. But yeah, like I am taking a lot away from it. I'm learning not only how to play my class, but I'm learning a lot about classes that I don't necessarily face normally. There's, I guess, warrior, rogue, and shaman that I don't really play. And so going up against them over and over and over again, although I haven't seen a whole lot of shaman, but going up against warrior and rogue a lot, I'm just like, I'm starting to learn what all their spells are, what their plays are. And I'm just like, those are definitely my weakest matchups. And there's a lot of rogue out there right now. But mech mage, every time I go up against a mech mage, I'm like, I totally know what's going to happen to me. My face is going to hurt. I'm toast.
Yeah,
But at least I know what's coming.
Yeah, that was definitely what I saw the most of when I first started this season, and since I'd say Thursday, mage I've seen a lot less mage. I've seen a lot more rogue, which is great, and a bad thing because I saw like none of them early February. So I'm still learning how to play against like the oil rogue, and then there's this other version that's still running oil, but also is like running a Gadgetzan auctioneer. So I'm still learning how to play against those the rogue types. I just haven't seen a lot of them this season, but I am seeing more now, and I'm starting to get the hang of it. Really with these new rogue decks, the thing I've learned, and I replied to someone on Twitter today, which was if I've learned one thing playing against rogue is that it's always too soon to start BMing the rogue. Because you could just look like you absolutely have it in the bag.
Anyway, like I'm not one of those players, but
making a joke here, Jocelyn. We all know.
Come on.
I only BM against mill decks because I know I'm going to win. And
I thought you were going to say against friends.
I do. That is very true. If anyone watched our random decks after the show last week, they'll see some of that. But yeah, no, it's been a really interesting season so far. It's definitely been tough for sure. But having a really good time.
I should also mention on Twitter there's a hashtag Keep Up with Joss, and that's for it seems to be people who are trying to do the push to legend as well, because there seems to be this kind of swell in the community of people who are really interested in trying ladder, getting into it, and motivating each other. So if you want to follow my daily updates, then it's the Joss to Legend hashtag. But if you want to kind of get in with the community and talk to other people who are also laddering at the same time, then check out the Keep Up with Joss hashtag. Because again, the community is freaking awesome.
Yeah, folks, I need, I don't know about you guys, but I need a support structure. I need certain friends who are better than me that I can go to and be like, all right, this is what I'm having an issue with. What am I not seeing?
Yep.
And if you're not doing that, then you're Firebat. I don't know what to tell you. Make friends and use them. And when a friend comes to you wanting help them too. Damn it.
Exactly.
So it's good stuff. Before we get into this week, I did want to make a correction. On last week's episode, HearthstoneOpen.com was mentioned. It's a website that runs open Hearthstone tournaments. And I believe one of us made a comment that I think it was Dill. I don't remember. that it was paid entry into these tournaments. But we got an email this week from Jonathan, who apparently runs HearthstoneOpen.com, and he said, quote, "There have never been a buy-in for my tournaments." He said, "I had nearly 272 people in the sideboard tournament. It was 100% free. The sponsor in that case paid the $400 prize pool." He said, "But 99% of my tournaments, I pay the much smaller prize pool myself, but every tournament is free to enter." So everyone, go check out Hearthstone.
Good news, everyone!
Oh, God. I hit the
premature bumpers.
Yeah.
Right in the face, Gary.
Right when I'm trying to do a good thing and, make a correction last week, I go and ruin it with the good news, everyone.
Well, it is good news.
It is good news. Correction, good news. HearthstoneOpen.com's tournaments are free to enter. So go enter them. And Jonathan, thanks for writing in. So, and one last thing, I just want to point, because so many new decks I've been learning about and playing against. One I haven't seen yet, but I have seen on streams, and most recently on Yongwu's Twitter feed, is the Medic Mage, which runs Illuminators. I guess Zetalot is the one who came up with this, but we will have a link to the deck list in the show notes. So, folks, if you're just sitting there man, I am so sick of Mage, Portal Mage, Freeze Mage,
all the Mage,
Fatigue Mage. I really wish there was just a fifth type of Mage. Go check this Mage out because it is so cool. And Yongwu's version runs 2 Explosive Sheep, so go take a look.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah. I just want to make a quick mention of that before we get into the news. Now it is time for the good news.
Good news, everyone!
Just a reminder, you can submit stories on our subreddit over at tacpodcast.reddit.com. The big news this week probably, well, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff vying for big news, but the thing I wanted to mention at the top is Activision Blizzard's latest earnings report, which don't run. It's not that boring, I promise.
We'll make it quick.
Yeah. So overall, Activision Blizzard had a $4 billion year. But the interesting thing from this is that apparently just Destiny and Hearthstone combined were responsible for more than $850 million worth of revenue. Now, I wish that they would have told us what just Hearthstone alone was responsible for. I don't know.
I don't know if they want us to know. That seems like information that's just...
It seems strange that you would combine those two games.
I feel like maybe Destiny didn't make that much money and Hearthstone just blew everything out of the water, and they're like, well, if we smoosh them together, no one will know how much money our free-to-play game is actually making.
There's no way Destiny didn't make a crap ton of money. There's just no way that didn't happen. It was a wildly successful game. I have mixed feelings about the game myself. I'm a huge Bungie fanboy. Yeah, no, I bought the crap out of that thing. New game from Bungie, and it's kind of massively multiplayer, which is on the back of the box. So you turn it over, it's kind of MMORPG. It actually says that. But no, it was a huge game. There's no way. I just find it odd that this was combined. But they also said that as of January, Hearthstone has more than 25 million registered players.
And that's got to be strictly because of GvG, because the last numbers that we saw were 20 million, right? So it went up 5 million people in a few months. That's nuts.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm trying to think of when the last numbers were announced, and I don't remember. I feel
like it was at BlizzCon. I think that during their the Hearthstone kind of fireside presentation, they said 20 million users.
Because the Android release still feels new to me, so I'm sure that's also had.
Oh, there's Android too. I totally forgot. I'm so sorry, Android people, because honestly, you are not on my radar. I totally forgot that even happened. I'm really, really sorry. I am.
There's and the Android release absolutely had an effect. As a matter of fact, the Google Play Store, I believe. It's the Google Play Store. The promotion with the coins is going on again. But it's only good for Android users, so it means nothing to me because I also do not have an Android device. I always get excited when I see this, and I'm like, oh wait, I use an iPad. Damn it. So.
And no, I'm not saying I have anything against Androids. I am an iOS girl, but that doesn't mean I hate Android people. It's not on my radar. I'm sorry.
I mean, if really what you're trying to say, and you're making it seem more divisive than it should be, is that you just don't have an Android device.
Exactly. I'm just responding to the comments that are pouring out of the chat room.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll get hate mail from Destiny fanboys. You'll get hate mail from Android fanboys, and all will be right
It'll
with
all
the
even
world.
out. Oh, Disney Mongoose in the chat room says that Canadians don't get the Amazon deal either. So
Yeah. So it's really just it's an Amazon deal. That's what it is, not Google Play. My mistake. They went on to say that non-Hearthstone related, that over 9 million players have signed up for the Heroes of the Storm beta, and WoW ended 2014 with more than 10 million subscribers, which just makes my heart swell with pride because I love me some World of Warcraft, and I'm not sure I will ever stop loving World of Warcraft.
never ever. I'm gonna play for the rest of while it's still a thing.
Yeah, you'd think, having played it since the second year of Vanilla, that I'd be sick of it by now, but no, I'm not. I'm sorry.
So the 9 million players in Heroes of the Storm beta, that's like
signed up, not in.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought that was like in, and I was just like, that's insane. That 9 million people paid $40 to get into this beta.
No. This is your marketing terminology. You got to read it closely. Signed up for. So
Right.
yeah, no. And not to mention a bunch of us got in for free.
Right. True.
Randomly.
Although I didn't think it was even close to 1 million people that got in when it was still closed beta.
I don't think they ever released numbers.
No.
If they did, I never saw them. And
I guess you would be watching for something like that, doing a show about the game and stuff.
called Into the Nexus. Folks should go check it out if they're into Heroes of the Storm. I'm just going to say that. Anyways, if you want to see more about Activision Blizzard's fourth quarter earnings, you can go over to Polygon.com or a multitude of other news websites and find out. We got links in the show notes. But onwards to Reynad, who recently won the Battle of the Best Invitational, marking Reynad's very first time winning a constructed tournament. So good on him.
Very impressive.
Yeah, this was this tournament was pretty cool. And if you missed it, all of the VODs are up right now over on battleofthebest.com/VOD. I love when tournaments are fast on the VOD turnaround because I can't always catch them when they're going live. So I enjoyed myself some nice semifinal and final action today via the VOD service. And this was not just given to Reynad. I mean, he had to go up against Tice in the semifinals and had to go up against Firebat in the finals. And if you did see it, you would know that the semifinals were probably, I would say, significantly more exciting than the finals. I was expecting, oh damn, he's going up against Firebat, this will be quite the showdown. But he got god draws and had good decks. Well, he really against Firebat he only had to play one, his Mech Mage, which was totally the MVP of the entire tournament.
And his Mech Mage it's Blingtron, isn't it? That's the big difference between his mage and most others?
It's a huge difference. I don't know about you, but I sure as hell have not seen Blingtron used in any decks.
I'm sure we're going to see it from now on.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I want to say yesterday I saw one come out and I went and I was like, what? Why? And then today when I was watching this, I'm like, okay, there's why. But it worked really well. He had this Mech Mage, and it has Blingtron in it. And because of having two Snow Chuggers, and he also had a Water Element, I think one Water Elemental, maybe two. See if I can bring up the deck list while I'm talking here. But whatever the case, he had all the freezing you could ever want. So even if his opponent got a good weapon, very rarely was he going to be able to use them.
Right. So when you went up against the Blingtron in Constructed, did you win or did they win?
Oh, no.
Because I'm just wondering, like, how...
I straight up died.
Tournament... Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, that's the other thing that's so smart, that like, why it works so well. I mean, first of all, you got the freezing, which I mentioned, but, I mean, you think about Mage, especially, Mech Mage or any Mage where it's you want to just finish them off with Fireballs, and if you ran out of Fireballs with Mech Mage, you just play Antonidas and make more. You just want to deal damage. So adding any damage to your turns via a weapon is huge. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at his, trying to find his Mech Mage right now, and looks like he is running 2 Water Elementals. Okay, so yeah, he had 4 minions that could freeze.
Right.
And so I don't know. I really recommend it. If you don't have a lot of time, I highly recommend checking out Game 2 from the semifinals. So it was Reynad's Mech Mage versus Tice's Handlock. This is the first time we really get to see Blingtron do his thing in this series. Just a crazy turn 5. That's when Reynad got to play Blingtron, and so Reynad got an Arcanite Reaper as a mage. So there's 10 damage over the course of 2 turns. He also used a reversing switch on Water Elemental, turning it into a 6/3, which then he just attacked face with. So 6 damage to face, plus the 5 from the weapon, plus your opponent's frozen. Like, it was just disgusting and amazing at the same time. So go check out Game 2 if you haven't seen it. And also Game 3 from the finals, which was the Mech Mage versus Firebat's Oil Rogue. And I'm so interested by Oil Rogue. I haven't tried playing it yet, but I really enjoyed seeing it played. And this was actually the closest game of the finals.
I haven't given it a shot either, mostly because it is Rogue, and also because I'm really, really trying to get a handle on the 2 decks that I am using to ladder up, which is really the big issue with laddering up, is that, you know, you really have to pick a deck and stick with it and get to know it and all the rest of it. So I'm not experimenting as much as I normally do over the course of a month, and it's such a poor time for me to choose to do this because there seems to be so much innovation going on and so many cool different decks. And, you know, before there was like 2 or 3, and now it seems like there's, you know, 10 to 12 that are all really viable on the ladder. And,
I mean,
Oil Rogue is one that I really look at and I go, man, I just get owned by this all the time. I wish I knew it better.
I mean, you linked Magic Amy's meta report on our subreddit this week.
I did.
Which if folks aren't reading, is over on the Tempo Storm website, and we were tipped off to it by a gentleman at our the Fireside Gathering here in Orlando, and I want to thank that man, whose name I unfortunately cannot remember at the moment. But this has quickly become one of my favorite things to read each week. Magic Amy's doing an amazing job, and if you look at all the decks that are on her tier list and look at like what falls in tier 1, what falls in tier 2, there's so many options. It's I don't know. It's a really good time if you're getting bored with one deck. There's all kinds of options out there, and there's a good chance that whatever class you want to play, there's a viable option for you if you're a net decker.
So Dark Angel in the chat room is saying that it was him.
Oh, well, thank you, Dark Angel. Also, damn, sir, you've been listening to my shows for way too long. I remember him from the Starcast episode 3. Like, I remember hearing from him. He was one of like the first commenters.
Nice.
And I remember because he also lives in Florida. And I was like, oh my God, someone in Florida. At the time, I was living in Los Angeles. This is a boring story. Moving on. And speaking of regardless of the class, there's a deck for you. Last week, we kind of dismissed...
Poor Shaman, a new one?
Dismissed Shaman. We'll say dismissed. We dismissed Shaman in Constructed when we were discussing the new GvG cards. And almost as if in direct retort of our scathing criticism of the new Shaman cards, Firebat hit rank 1 legend with a new Mech Shaman deck, which is super interesting. I've only managed to play a handful of games with it, but I am really liking it. Can't say it's usurped my love of Paladin at the moment, but
Paladin is just so fun.
Yeah, folks should absolutely go check this out. And chat room, there's a link in the chat room. And if you're listening via podcast, go to amove.tv/TAC and go to the show notes. We got a link to the deck list. I'm excited about this because it's a solid deck. It's very much like Mech Mage. You got a lot of the same mechs in there. But obviously the big thing is the Shaman mech, the Whirling Zap-O-Matic. This thing is just disgusting. If you can protect it, if you can make it, like, if it lives 1 turn, so you get a swing and that's 6 damage. If there's anything else going on, if you drop a Flame Tongue Totem next to it, if you Rock Bite or weapon it, there's just so much absurd crap you can make happen.
Yeah. If it lives.
If it lives. Right. And it is hard to make live, but not impossible. It's a 2-drop. They're not always going to have an answer.
True.
And like, oh man, if you've got that in your hand.
Although I do notice that a lot of people are mulliganing hard for things that deal with 1, 2, and 3 drops, because just mech decks are so popular, so they're just like they're going for removal
Oh,
if they're not playing a mech deck.
Absolutely, and any mid-range or control deck is probably running Zombie Chow to combat that.
I have Zombie Chow.
Yeah, well, you should.
Yeah.
it's a damn good card. And after that Undertaker buff, he just got super. Or after Undertaker nerf,
Yeah.
Zombie Chow got buffed.
Yes.
Zombie Chow, such a good card, such a damn good card. I will gladly heal my opponent for 5 to remove multiple of his minions, and even more so when it's a chance I'll play it on turn 1 and they will have actually taken no damage, so I just get to remove minions. I love it. Love Zombie Chow. So go check out Firebat's Mech Shaman. Well, once I have a feeling, unless another deck comes out that I really want to talk about, that not next week but the week after when we're finished with GvG card discussions, that we may be talking about this Mech Shaman deck.
Nice.
I really want to talk about this Mech Shaman deck.
I'm looking forward to really kind of getting into decks and things that we're talking about, because we've mentioned a lot of things that we haven't gone into a lot of detail on, and there are some really great articles on Hearthhead written by both Dills and Garrett on a lot of the decks that are in the meta right now. But I really want to talk about them and kind of rip them apart and really get into the meat of them.
When you say rip them apart, it feels like a bad thing, but
no. I just mean, like, figure out what combos work and why, and like if you don't have this card, then what card could you have? And it just love it.
Yeah, Dills has a new article up right now about the Oil Rogue. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go to hearthhead.com right now and check that out. So, well, do it. And finally, we just have to make mention of the fact that the Honest Hearthstone trailer exists, because this thing has been passed around the internet more than, I'm trying to think, I don't know, Nyan Cat. I've seen it so much this week. And I'm not even sure, like the first couple days I didn't even bother watching. I'm like, oh, what, I've seen Honest trailers, I've seen them all, it's not going to affect me. And then I watched it, I'm like, no, this is really good. This is a damn funny video.
It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah,
I just threw it in the chat room. If you guys haven't watched it, like, go now, right now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely go check it out. It's on obviously on YouTube. If you follow our Twitter, you've seen it. But if somehow you missed it, go check out the Honest Hearthstone trailer on YouTube. Now, it is time to talk a little Hunter.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
We're done letting you guys vote. This week, Jocelyn decreed we would discuss Hunter.
Thou shalt speak, Hunter.
As one of the last 2 remaining classes to discuss with the new GvG cards. So let's discuss Hunter, shall we, Joss?
I think we shall.
All right. First up, in alphabetical order, is Call Pet. It's a 2-mana rare spell, and it reads, draw a card. If it's a beast, it costs 4 less.
I like this card.
I knew you would.
I know.
Ask me how.
Bear with me.
You're supposed to ask me how I knew you would like this.
So I've had a lot of problems because I did, confession time, switch to Face Hunter for a couple of games, and I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later, but I did switch to Face Hunter. I tried it out, and I played tracking in every single game, and every single time I played tracking, I had to throw away 2 cards that I actually really needed. And it's frustrating, really, really frustrating. So for 1 extra mana, I get that card draw. If it's a beast, it costs me 4 mana less, which, there's some beefy beasts that then become free. So I don't know, I like Call Pet. I prefer Call Pet to tracking because you don't have to get rid of any cards.
Okay. Now, let's discuss the fact that regardless of what comes after it, the fact that the word if even is printed on this card in digital form is just not a great thing.
No, I know, but it's still, you get a card regardless. It's not like
but you
draw a card if it's a beast, destroy, or if,
but you spent a card.
It's not a beast, destroy it.
So all you did is cycle a card, and you spent 2 mana to do it.
Yeah.
So if it's not a beast, you got to cycle a card for 2 mana. That's not really not particularly wonderful.
But tracking is also cycling tracking is a 1 for 3. I don't know why everyone thinks that tracking is so good.
Well,
you literally destroy 2 of your cards.
Well, it's because of the choice. You get to pick from these 3 cards which one you want, whereas this one you just get whatever happens to be on the top of your deck.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think really and truly it's more of my dislike of tracking. I've never really liked the tracking card. So I think it's my dislike of that as opposed to liking Call Pet, if that makes sense.
I'll give you that. I feel like down the road, when we have even more beasts, and you can have some bizarre, like, beast-only hunter deck, that this card will just be Banana Town. But as it stands, there's a reason we're not seeing it played.
Yeah, no, and we're not seeing it played, and that's fair enough, but...
Yeah, and it's also, in Arena, it's one of those things where this is kind of, I would just stab you with a fork if I saw you pick this in the first 5 turns. But if you see it on, like, pick 28, and you're looking at your deck, and you're like, I've got, like, 15 beasts, absolutely take it. But in any other scenario, you're crazy.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. It's like any of the cards that synergizes with this specific type is like, if you don't have that type yet, then what are you doing?
Yeah, no, it's very, it has very strict synergy if you're thinking about arena picks. So just keep that in mind if you haven't already kept it in mind. But let's move on to Cobra Shot. It's a 5 mana common spell, and it reads deal 3 damage to a minion and the enemy hero. Which again, I'm pretty lukewarm on Mr. Cobra Shot here. Unless that 3 damage is killing the enemy hero, I'm not very excited about this.
I think it's a touch too expensive, but then if it was 4 mana, I feel like that'd be a bit too cheap. Although at 4 mana, it's the same price as a fireball. Yeah. So I think that's the problem, is it's just a touch too expensive. Although it's also a little bit more powerful because you do get to split the damage. Like when you have a 6 damage fireball and you have to use it on like a 4 health minion or something, like you're wasting 2 damage. This splits it up. So, but again, it's also a random minion. So it's so many pluses and minuses to this card.
It's not a random minion.
Huh?
It's not a random minion.
It's not wait, no. Whoa. There's a GvG card that is not random?
No, it's just deal 3 damage to a minion and the enemy hero.
You do the damage to the minion and then the hero damage is automatic.
No, you get to, you target the minion you want to deal the damage to, and then also 3 damage happens to the opponent's face.
Most Divided is also pointing out that you have to have a minion on board, so you can't use it on an empty board.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, again, like we talked about, I'm pretty sure this came up last week, the fact that suboptimal cards need to exist for limited formats, which in this case is Arena. It you can't every card can't be perfect, and that's fine. It's fine that cards like this exist, but again, I don't think we're going to be seeing Cobra Shot in any constructed decks anytime soon. Like I'm like,
what about Malagos Cobra Shot?
Sure.
I'm telling you, we can make every card in this game work.
Yes, in the ifs. If you start adding a lot of ifs and you're okay with those ifs.
I miss having fun. I miss doing things like putting together a Malagos Cobra Shot deck.
You just make the Hunter spell deck?
Yes.
I would be all for that if you could play Cobra Shot and Malagos in the same turn.
Oh, true.
For the record, I would be on the Jocelyn train right now. If that was possible. But it is not.
I know.
So I unfortunately have to take my ticket to the Jocelyn train and just say, not today.
Oh, that's so unfortunate.
But yeah, as far as Arena is concerned, you will see worse cards next to this, and you'll be like, it's 3 damage removal for 5 mana. It's not particularly well costed, but it's better than Goldshire Footman. I'm sorry, Goldshire Footman.
I was like, it's common. It's going to be up against a lot of chuff. Let's call it.
Yeah. Well, God. Feign Death is the next card we're going to discuss. It's a 2 mana epic spell. Reads trigger all death rattles on your minions. This is a card I was so freaking excited about when it was previewed. And just no one has been able to find a way to make it work. Like, not even when Undertaker Hunter was just absurdly good and you wanted your Hunter deck to be filled with nothing but Death Rattle minions.
Yep. I don't know why it's so bad. It's one of those things you just can't put your finger on. It seems like it should be so good. It's 2 mana and your minions don't actually die.
Right.
You just get all the Death Rattle bonuses.
Well, I think I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't even have an answer. Like, the first thing that pops in my head is kind of diminishing returns on anything where the minion creates more minions. You can only have 7 minions on board. If this was something like Magic and you could have as many damn minions as you want, then this would be great. Could you imagine, like, throwing this on the board with, like, 2 creepers out and you just get
and then,
4
yeah, there's
1
the
ones?
creepers, there's the high mains.
Yeah.
You can't even attack with them right away, so then you'd have to wait for your opponent to clear or the next turn, and you could potentially not be able to play things then. Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, Leper Gnome would be good, Loot Hoarder would be good. What else with the Death Rattle was actually played in a Hunter deck?
The dream that, well, that's played in a Hunter deck, not a whole lot, but the dream obviously is Sylvanas.
Well, yes, yeah.
That's, chat rooms like in a chant. You can't even.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah,
not
Sylvanas,
audio, but.
Dr. Boom, because, all the boom bots. Like.
Oh, yeah.
I love when I'm playing. The Portal Mage is so fun, and it has the echo in it, and just get all the boom bots, and it makes me so happy. So yes, I can see triggering boom bots more than once. I think boom bots are my favorite thing in the game right now. So triggering them more than once, just again, but it's a happy fun deck, and it's the dream, it's the if, and it's just not consistent enough to actually make it into constructed decks right now. And with Arena, I mean, the only way you're going to take this is if it's all the way at the end. You have a ton of Death Rattles; they're all positive. And that's, again, a lot of ifs. And it's epic, and I feel like there's better epic things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, another thing, much like Call Pet, maybe down the road when there's more Death Rattle minions, especially if there's more that synergize specifically with Hunter, I can see Feign Death becoming a thing. But at the moment, it's far too situational. And a lot of Death Rattles, I mean, they're on minions that are made to die. It's incidental. It's one of the reasons it's so strong, and I believe one of the reasons Undertaker was nerfed is you have these cards, and they're pretty good. Like, if a lot of them, even if they didn't have the text, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Well, actually, I'm thinking, like, Leper Gnome, now that'd be terrible without the text. Creeper would be terrible without, so I take that back. But it's still, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say here. It just feels like it's an incidental effect, like Death Rattles, and it's not necessarily something that like, I'm going to retract now. I just think I'm going to stick with my diminishing returns, and you just can't.
Well, it's a good point.
Yeah.
You can fill up your board with a lot of 1/1s, which, funny enough, is a good thing in Pally.
Yes, it is, but it doesn't really help you all that much with Hunter. I mean, unless it's
like a 2-mana muster.
Unless it's an incredibly situational one. Muster always gives me 3 dudes and a 1/4 weapon, no matter what's on the board. This card. Yeah, cards that are not good when I have an empty board horrify me, and this card is terrible when I have an empty board. It's literally useless.
Yeah, or a board full of stuff with no Death Rattles. I get it.
Yep. So, let's talk about an exciting card, Mr. Gozrilla. Another card we were very, very excited about when it was previewed. Hasn't really seen any constructed play.
It's just too expensive and too slow to work in Hunter right now.
Absolutely. I do want to stamp a big excited asterisk next to that comment, however, because I feel like Web Spinner could make a comeback, and you can get Gozrilla from Web Spinner. I'm pulling a Jocelyn
really?
right now.
That's what you're excited about? All my other stuff you've been saying, oh, that's situational. But then you're just like, whoa, guys. If Web Spinner gives you Gozrilla, oh my god. Come on.
I get so much crap on this show for raining all over RNG's parade. And I want to just state for the record that cards like Web Spinner and Sneed's Old Shredder, any of these things that just bring in even Unstable Portal, which I may divulge a story that made me quite salty later. Maybe not. Time will tell. Whatever the case, all of these
I think we'll have time.
spells and minions that bring other minions in that are not in your deck. We still have to come up with a term for that. I almost want to call manifest, because it's not from your deck. It's not card draw.
I was thinking like lots of mana, like a party, a manifest.
No, it's like a manifest from the ether. And the fact that all this is happening, your video is frozen, by the way.
I know. They didn't get to see my excited manifest.
may want to try toggling it off and on.
I'm working on it.
But I just wanted to mention it.
There we go.
But the fact that that's a thing now makes me excited for cards like this. Because, no, it's not something you can ever depend on. But the fact that you can have your Sneed's Old Shredder die and Godzilla shows up, or Web Spinner, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, I played a 1/1 and it died. Now I've got a 7/6/9 legendary. Which, by the way, I haven't even said what Godzilla does yet. 7 mana,
sorry.
legendary beast, 6 attack, 9 health. Whenever this minion takes damage, double its attack. So, folks, if you didn't hear us discuss it when it was previewed, you can see why we were excited about the card.
And I did, when GvG first came out and I was kind of experimenting and making fun decks, I did build like a big, beefy beast hunter deck, and I had a lot of fun with it. It wasn't as good as it could be. It didn't win me a lot of games. It was a lot of fun to play, but it was just so difficult because there was so much Undertaker rushy crap. I haven't gone back to it since the nerf, and I really think I should, because some of these cards are just so damn fun. Like, who doesn't want to play this card?
Yeah, no, if mid-range or control hunter really comes back in full force, I think Godzilla's gonna have a place. If for no other reason than it has 6 attack. It doesn't die to big game hunter the turn you play it. Now, granted, there's all kinds of crap your opponent can, like shenanigans your opponent can pull. You know, if he has anything on board on his turn, he can run it into this, double its attack, and then big game hunter it. Mm-hmm. But the fact that there's even one extra step in getting BGH value against this card makes me happy.
Yeah.
So I love Godzilla. I'm just sad that Hunter, like, really the only Hunter deck we're seeing right now is the 6/0 super aggro face Hunter.
Yeah. And chat room earlier was saying that there's no tracking in that deck, and there's one tracking in that 6/0 deck.
Yeah, it's just one, and it comes in handy. It's like, I really need that Hunter's Mark right now. I really need it.
Yeah.
So, I like Godzilla. And obviously, I'd be stoked to pick this in Arena.
Yeah.
There's very few legendaries I would pick over Mr. Godzilla here. And you better damn well believe I'm picking that call pet afterwards.
Oh my god. 3 mana Godzilla, can you imagine? If.
That's the dream with call pet, is Godzilla. It's like, I want someone, please email or tweet us with, well, guys, call pet's really good if you run Godzilla, because then it makes Godzilla good for the aggro deck. Like, please, like, I want that to be someone's honest reply.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I want to live in that world. So, I'm excited about Godzilla. Just, at the moment, it doesn't really have a home, at least not in constructed.
I want it to. I want it so bad.
Absolutely. But my web spinners are anxiously awaiting your arrival, Mr. Godzilla. And Sneed's Old Shredder. And I love the idea of a massive Hydra piloting a Goblin Shredder. Somebody draw that.
I love the idea of all of the things piloting Sneed's Old Shredder.
I would like this to become a thing. So folks out there with Photoshop skills and time, anytime we make mention of something absurd driving a Shredder, start tweeting us your drawings, because that would be amazing. Let's talk about Glaive Zuka, which is probably going to win for the best named card this week.
I have a gold version. It's so cool.
It's awesome. It's a Glaive Zuka. It's a 2 mana common weapon. It has 2 attack and 2 durability, and it reads Battle Cry. Give a random friendly minion +1 attack.
I've seen this all over the place.
Oh, I know you have, because you've seen 6/0's Face Hunter all over the place, and Glaive Zuka is a popular card in it.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's great. It's a great weapon, 2/2/2, and you get bonus minion damage. I mean, obviously it sucks if you don't have any minions on board, but let's face it, what hunter doesn't have minions on board?
Yeah, that's a really good point, and even if you don't, it's still, it's still 4 damage for 2 mana. It's not the end of the world, and it's not as conditional as Power Mace for Shamans, which it's a death rattle, and it only goes on mech.
Yeah.
So I like Glaivezuka. It's a good card.
I like it too. I'd pick it in either one.
Yeah, I like it for the same reasons I like Coghammer for Paladin, because it's just got a minion out. It's even better to play this weapon, which was already pretty good.
Right.
So good, great card. No reason not to be running it in the one really popular Hunter deck at the moment, and definitely no reason not to pick it in Arena.
Agreed.
Unless you somehow didn't get a minion in Arena. Which, if you did, if that is the case...
How could you not get a minion in Arena?
I'm just saying, if it happens, if the stars align, tweet us your screenshots, please. You can be a guest on the show. I want to hear from this person that got that unlucky.
And the other thing is, too, with it being a battle cry, you're going to get it. You can control when you get it. Even if it does, like Chiron's pointing out, even if it gets oozed, you still get the bonus. So... could be worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Oozed or Harrison Jones.
And you're baiting out an ooze, really.
Yeah, and we're not really seeing a lot of oozes in Constructed at the moment. It's mostly, if you're seeing weapon removal, it is Harrison Jones.
Which it's kind of funny that we're not seeing any oozes, because there's a lot of classes. And plus, especially, maybe we will once Blingtron becomes even more in the meta. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of weapon-heavy decks right now, and yet not a lot of ooze decks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Rogues, warriors, hunters.
Well, that's why we're seeing...
Paladins.
Well, everyone's running Harrison Jones. Or a lot of folks are.
I don't have one.
Well, you should how all the cards you purchase and you don't have a Harrison Jones.
I know. I'm close to enough dust to make another legendary, though. But what I did was I spent all of my gold, because I'd amassed about 1,500 gold, and obviously I'm not playing Arena right now, so I spent all of my gold on packs, and then I opened them, and I got nothing. So
I opened 2 packs with just gold the other day, and I got Mogre the Ogre.
Well, see, there you go, because I was just about to say all the emails that we get about how packs that are bought for gold never have as good cards as ones that are bought for real money. I was about to be like, I feel your pain. And then Garrett just drops the legendary bomb.
Yeah, I mean, granted, not really one I think I'll ever play, other than...
But still, it's a legendary.
In joke decks. I really do want to just build an Ogre deck. Just call it coin flip or something. But no, I'm glad you brought that up, because we get a remarkable amount of those emails and tweets. That
it's the whole
guys,
conspiracy theory thing.
Yeah, do I have less likely of a chance to get a legendary from a pack I won from Arena or bought with gold than I do from a pack with real money? And as someone who has bought a lot of packs with real money, I can tell you it's completely debunked, because I almost never get legendaries.
Oh my god, that stream where you opened like 40 GvG packs and got nothing.
And everyone got to see Garrett have a rage fit? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I did get some legendaries, but they were crap. They were terrible. They were so bad.
I can't even remember which one's the one that you opened.
I got a Neptulon, and I got a Hemet Netzingwary.
Right.
I was so excited. I was so very, very excited. Anyways, Glaivezuka, good card. Yes. On to King of the Beasts, the opposite of a good card.
Yeah.
5 mana, rare beast minion, has 2 attack, 6 health, and its text reads Taunt. Okay, it's 2/6. I'm not really that excited. Okay, how about a battle cry? All right, what does the battle cry say? Well, it says gain +1 attack for each other beast you have. King of the Beasts, call me when that mythical deck that Call Pet is in is in existence.
That's true. That would be great. A 2 mana King of Beasts would be fantastic. I think the biggest problem with this card in this current meta is that almost everyone is running at least one mind control tech. So in order to actually make King of Beasts viable, so you need 3 to 4 other beasts on board to make it a 5/5 or 6/6 with Taunt for 5 mana. That's decent. But then, you throw down your King of Beasts with all your other beasts on board, and then they go, mind control tech. and then
Right.
steal it away. And
Right.
I know
Well-
you can't choose, but let's be honest, when someone mind control techs you, it always takes the thing that you don't want it to take. When
amount-
you play it, it never works. But when they play it,
You're damn-
every single
damn right.
freaking time.
I rage quit at least 3 games this weekend because Mind Control Tech took my Dr. Boom. I was like, of course it did. And I know everyone, who's really into competitive card games, they're like, and they get really into the statistics and everything about the game, and they get mad when you say, of course, and you just throw up your hands and you're just like, I'm just unlucky, because they're like, well, no, that's not it. It's statistical. I don't care. There is no other reaction in this world to having your Dr. Boom taken by a mind control tech other than throwing your arms up and going, of course it did, and then hitting concede.
It's nice of you to hit concede. Really, really, really
I'm
nice.
going to start putting a bowl right in front of me, or some kind of vessel, so I can sit here and just pour salt when I start ranting about something, and I'm just going to pour it in front of me. Anyways, so yeah, he's just not that exciting. It's like, for 5 mana, if I want to taunt, I'd rather have a Sludge Belcher. It's consistent. It leaves the slime behind. You're getting 1 less health, but you're getting 1 more attack, and you're also getting another body.
And you're getting the slime after, yeah.
Second body with taunt. So yeah, it's just King of Beasts. It asks a lot of us to be a good card, and it's rough. Obviously, definitely going to be arena runs where you take this card. It's not the end of the world. You're going to pick up other beasts as a hunter. It's just going to happen. So he's definitely not the worst pick in the world. But really, I would say average for arena, and I don't see this being included in any ranked decks anytime soon.
No, I don't think so.
So that being said, man, I'm starting to love eating my hat. So if this, if next week a Firebat's like, well, I heard those Angry Chicken guys say that there is no way to make King of the Beast work in a deck, so I'm going to start a
So
whole
here's
new
my
account.
King of Beasts deck.
It's just gonna, yeah, exactly. We'll, and this is a joke. I'm not actually saying the Firebat made an amazing Mech Shaman deck just because we ripped Shaman a new one last week. It's not what I'm saying, but I'm kind of saying it.
It'd be really cool if it was true.
Yes, it would. Metal Tooth Leaper is the next minion we're going to talk about. It is a 3-mana rare mech minion. So this is the mech card for hunters. It has 3 attack, 3 health, so it's a 3/3 for 3. And it has a battle cry that reads, give your other mechs +2 attack. This is a card that when we were putting the show together today, I had to remind myself existed.
I thought you were gonna call me out there, because I totally forgot.
I will call myself out. I forgot about Metal Tooth Leaper. I know it was one of the preview cards. I'm pretty sure we even talked about it already.
I think we did. Hunter mech is just not a thing.
Not yet. No. And I'm so scared because I'm like, next week Hunter mech's gonna totally be a thing.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I wish it was. I mean, there are so many strong mechs, and you can make cool mech decks. I mean, you basically take the mechs out of the mage deck. The problem with the mage decks is they have that freaking blast mage and the what's it? No, it's blast mage.
Yeah, blast mage.
Because everyone has the technician, right? Tinkertown.
The Tinkertown Technician is a neutral card. Yes.
It's neutral. Okay, yeah. So it's the blast mage that's just so powerful. And I mean, not saying that the Leaper isn't powerful, but in comparison, you have to have all of your mechs on board in order to get the same amount of attack and damage and everything else like that. And then you only have a 3/3. You don't have a 5/4. And I know it's less mana, but still. Mm-hmm. It's just it doesn't really compare, and I feel like none of the other mech minions really compare to that blast mage, which is why we're getting so much mech mage. And mech mage is fun, but
yeah, no, I mean, this is another card that when it comes to arena, should you find yourself with a lot of mechs, this card's kind of gross in arena. It's pretty damn good if you have mechs.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's not the end of the world. Again, not the end of the world by itself. It is a 3/3 for 3. Yeah, there's definitely better 3-drops you can get if you don't have mechs, but there will be scenarios where you'll have to take it, and there's definitely worse cards you could take. And I'm honestly surprised we haven't seen a mech hunter. It just seems like, well, mech, there's a lot of cheap mechs. They all synergize well. And you can get some aggression going on.
We might start to see it similar to how we just saw the Mech Shaman, because I think now everyone's seeing how powerful Mech Mage is, and everyone knows those, 5 mechs that go really well together early game. So we might see people start going, okay, well, you know what? Those are all neutral. I'm just going to grab them all and I'm going to throw them in my favorite class, and I'm going to throw the Leaper in, and I'm going to go Mech Hunter, or I'm going to go Mech Warrior, or whatever. We might start to see some, just because people, I'm sure, are ready for a change.
Yeah.
Mech Mage has been powerful for a while.
Some folks in the chat room are saying that a 5-3 for 3 is insanely good, and now I feel like it bears mentioning. This does not buff itself. It says give your other
mechs, yeah.
Does not buff itself. Otherwise, yes, this would be an auto include.
Yeah.
But no, unfortunately, that is not the case. It can buff your other Metal Tooth Leaper that you played previously. And he'll be like, thanks, bud, and they'll high five, and it'll sound like 2 toasters smacking together, but that's...
Toaster on toaster violence.
I'm in a little bit of a goofy mood tonight. I don't know why. But yeah, just not, again, another one of those cards that we're just not seeing a whole lot of play in Constructed at the moment. Doesn't seem to have a home. But it's another one where I'm like, I believe in this card. I think it has a future. I just don't think we figured it out yet.
Yeah. There you go. It's an angry chicken challenge. Make a Mech Hunter. Make it work.
This is why I want replays, damn it. Why can't we have built-in replays? So it'd be like, your challenge this week, chickens. Build a Metal Tooth Leaper Hunter deck and send in your replays.
That would be so good, and then we could put it on the end of the show. Best replay. New crazy game stories. Just tack it in. Replays. Done.
That would be great. I guess folks could upload it to their YouTube and then send us a link.
Aha.
But
True.
That would be terrible for an audio show.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. Let's talk about the last Hunter card in Goblins vs. Gnomes. Steam Weedle Sniper. A 2-mana epic minion, has 2 attack, 3 health, and reads your hero power can target minions.
I've gotten this out of the piloted shredder 3 times, I think.
So I've gotten it once, and I got it this week.
And I was just like, my hero power already targets minions, but thanks.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was like, as a paladin, does this mean I can give them a 1/1 minion if I?
Well, yeah,
so
what
feel.
am I supposed to do with this?
If I'm feeling generous, if I want to be a gentleman Uther, can I?
No, you throw your 1/1 at the other guy. You can target other minions. You just throw the 1/1 dude at face.
You have a cannon that shoots Silverhand recruits.
Yes.
That's what. Oh my God. I want this to be a thing.
I know, right?
Ben Brode, I know you listen.
It just becomes like the mage hero power. 1 damage, all the minions just...
Are you sleeping on the job, dude? Why didn't you program that functionality in for paladins? Why can't I chuck my 1/1 tokens at my opponent?
It only makes sense. Shamans checking totems and don't even do any damage.
You can have the catapult from the Orgrimmar board roll up with a Silverhand Knight in it, and it just flings it at whatever you target.
That animation.
This rant is over now. We're going to get serious again. Steam will say, I love this card. I don't care that it is not used in any current meta verified constructed decks.
Yeah, I feel like they got some tools in order to be more control-y, but no one's really made any use of that yet. So, the sniper is in my big beast hunter deck, that's much more late game, much more control. And again, it was fun to play. It was, 50% win rate, give or take. Probably a little bit less than that. But I don't know, it just, yeah. It's not quite there. It's missing something, and I'm not sure what it is. Maybe I should post a deck list and be like, guys, fix this.
I think, I feel like the sniper himself is fine. I think it's Hunter as a whole still being relatively weak as a control deck.
Yeah. But see, and this was the one that was supposed to kind of turn that around, because if you can take 2 damage for 2 mana and throw it at a minion instead of being forced into that aggro face style, this was supposed to be the card that was going to make Hunters more control. And it just didn't really happen. Although Steam Weedle into hero power hit your own Gazrilla and then start smacking face.
I love that this 2-mana card is now into our like turn 8, god plays.
So
turn 7, I play Gazrilla. Their turn 7, they don't kill Gazrilla. My turn 8, I play Steam Wheel Sniper, ping my own Gazrilla, and hit face for an obscene amount of damage.
For a win.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Jocelyn.
I know.
I'm not sure.
I know.
I gladly take Steam Wheel Sniper in Arena. It works out real well in my favor the few times I've been lucky enough to get him. And
The 3 health thing makes a big difference. I enjoy that.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Makes it
because
stickier.
you're not playing. We love our 3-2 for 2s on our show, especially in Arena. But you're not playing Steam Wheel Sniper to have him trade off with another 2 or 3 drop. You're playing it for his effect.
Right.
So it's very rare. You wouldn't really want to play this guy on turn 2. You'd want to play him on turn 4.
Yeah, I was going to say
play
turn
him,
4
and then
would be better, so you can actually make use of the hero power.
Exactly. This is not a card that's particularly exciting on curve. So that's definitely part of Steam Wheel Sniper's problem. But he's just so cool. I love this card. It's one of my favorite cards from Goblins vs. Gnomes.
So if it was a 4-mana card that let you do 2 damage to any minion, would you play it?
Sorry, you're saying for 4 mana, if it was a 2/3 and it read deal 2 damage to target minion?
Yeah, because that's essentially what we're saying, right? Is that for 4 mana you can then and I know that if it sticks around, but then the thing is either your opponent is going into turn 4 or going into turn 5. They're probably going to be able to remove it. So the only thing you can really guarantee that you're going to get is a 2/3 with the 2 damage from your hero power hitting a minion. So what do you do? Would you play that card?
I wouldn't play that card, but again, I would play this card because of the potential it has. The fact that there's if you had a 4-mana card and it was guaranteed, you will only get a 2/3 and you will only deal 2 damage where you want it once. It's a lot less exciting.
And I feel like that's kind of where it is in Constructed. I can see in Arena it's different because you don't know that your opponent has any removal, but I feel like in Constructed that's probably why it's falling short.
Yeah, part of it. And again, my belief is just that the Control Hunter overall is still not a strong archetype, and Steam Wheel Sniper was not enough to make it a strong archetype. That being said, I know I've mentioned on the show before, I think I mentioned it last week, that I made an absurd, I call it LOL Mech. It's a priest deck. Anytime I have dailies with a class that I don't normally play, I build a deck that I just want to play that's fun. Again, I feel like I'm like arguing with people who aren't here to argue with, like all the folks on Twitter and whatnot, just like, oh, Gary, you're just a net decker. It's like, no, I make plenty of decks on my own. I just don't play them in ranked. So that's why when I have a lot of dailies, I'll go make a deck that I want to play, that I don't look anything up. I'm going to make a Control Hunter. So every time I get a Hunter daily, because I don't play Hunter on ranked, I go and make it. I try and make a Control Hunter work, and I hit casual, and I have a blast. I love Steam Wheel Sniper. It's so much fun.
Wait, did you say you don't play Hunter in ranked?
I don't.
Didn't you tell me?
Usually, I don't play Hunter on ranked.
I was like, I think I just caught you in a lie, Mr. Garrett.
Actually, no, that is very true. I played a lot of Hunter this week. None of it was in ranked.
Oh, okay.
So no, we'll get into that later, maybe. But for now, that brings us to the end of our discussion about the new Goblins vs. Gnome cards for Hunters. What's our only class left? I don't even remember. Is it Druid? No, we talked about Druid.
No, Rogue?
Rogue's it. Okay. Good timing, too, because Oil Rogue's real popular, so we'll get to talk about some of those cards next week.
It's perfect.
And then we'll be done talking about all the new class cards for Goblins vs. Gnomes.
Then we can get into decks. Yes.
And thank you, Jocelyn. Now, chat room is chanting, Garrett is a liar. And they're still
One
misspelling
person doesn't
my
make
name.
a chant.
I am hamming it up for the audio-only listeners who cannot refute.
So basically, I just called you a liar twice.
Yep. Today's
You're
episode
welcome.
title, Garrett Lies. Wonderful. Let's take a crazy game store.
Is the whole world gone crazy?
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
You can send your crazy game stories to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Jocelyn, who has a story for us today?
Steve sent us a story, and he says, I play Priest and was playing an a-hole warrior. You know the type, emoting sorry after every kill. We traded back and forth the whole game until we were both down to 2 cards left. We were going into fatigue and had a big health advantage, 30 health, or he had a big health advantage, 30 health plus 11 armor to my 22. He plays his first card, Acolyte of Pain. I play Acolyte of Pain.
Acolyte of Plane is a very good...
It's not actually Plane.
He's a very good pilot. You know, he can do a corkscrew through a barn door. I don't know flying terminology at all. Continue.
Okay. And then, so Steve played Zombie Chow. The warrior plays his last card, Sneed's Old Shredder. So I play my last card, Sylvanas, and bump the Acolyte with my zombie. I figure my only chance to win is to steal Sneed's. And even then, I might die from fatigue before I can whittle down his health. On the warrior's turn, he sees the same thing and has his Sneeds attack my Sylvanas. Sylvanas dies and steals the Acolyte of Pain. No! Of course, the warrior emotes, sorry. I'm left with Zombie and Acolyte of Pain against his Sneeds. I kill his Sneeds with my zombie, and what drops? Nat Pagel. It's still a fatigue race, but the RNG gods favor me as Nat catches a fish 4 times in a row, and I steal the win. I almost never BM, but I definitely sent him a sorry at the end of that game.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Right? When have you ever seen 4 in a row on a Pagel?
Nat Pagel,
especially to end the game?
You glorious bastard. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that makes
such a good story. Thank you for sending that in.
I'm so glad too, because we haven't talked about Nat Pagel in forever, and it's come up a lot in my house recently because Katie got me the Hearthstone pint glasses for my birthday. And I always give her Nat Pagel because every time we go fishing, I catch nothing, and she catches like 4 fish. So I'm like, no, you get Nat Pagel because you are the legendary fisherman in this family.
Aw.
Way to go. So, oh, that's amazing. Thank you for your story, Steve. And now let's round out this episode with some emails.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
You can also send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com, and our first one today comes to us from Brian from the Philippines, who also may be the dude responsible for winning more consecutive TAC giveaways in a row than anybody else, and also giving me a heart attack because, man, it is hard to ship things to the Philippines. I'm just going to put that out there. So congratulations to you, Brian. Anyway, Brian says, hey, gang, the epic rant on Face Hunter last episode 65, reminded me of the Play to Win series on sirlin.net/PTW. If you're listening on audio, that's sirlin.net/PTW. He said, I think it is a must-read for anyone thinking about dipping their toes into competitive gaming. He said the relevant part is near the beginning, where Sirlin talks about cheapness, which sounds a lot like Face Hunter does not require thinking. I won't quote the whole thing. It is worth the full read. But in essence, 1, filling up my deck with charge minions and going pure face is part of the game design as it's meant to be there. 2, if using Face Hunter optimizes my chances of winning and getting the legend, would I not be crazy to not use it? I guess we're going to remove a not there, and then I will be less confused. 3, if you know that I only keep going face, can't you play around that? And if it is extremely difficult to play around it, again, wouldn't I be crazy to not keep going face? Of course, the easy answer is, I don't like Face Hunter because I want to have fun. Sirlin also covers this in his book, and I think this one is worth quoting. He says, and this is a quote from Sirlin's excerpt, it says, the good players will find incredibly overpowering tactics and patterns. As they play the game more, they'll be forced to find counters to those tactics. The vast majority of those tactics that at first appear unbeatable end up having counters, though they are often quite subtle and difficult to discover. Knowing the counter tactic prevents the other player from using his tactic, but he can then use a counter to your counter. Moving on, to continue the quote, he says, the good players are reaching higher and higher levels of play. They found the cheap stuff and abused it. They know how to stop the cheap stuff. They know how to stop the other guy from stopping it so they can keep doing it. Brian says, in the end, I think the discussion should be less about Face Hunter is brainless and is killing the game and more about why are people incentivized to play Face Hunter. He said, my quick opinions are, 1, the grinding nature of ladder promotes quick games, as already previously discussed on the show and on the blog of that other Brian. And 2, aggro decks are generally cheaper to build, so you'll see a lot of them on the ladder. What do you guys think? Thanks for the awesome show. Now, before you all run and go and write a novel like what Brian just sent us, usually we don't put in emails this long, but this was such an incredibly well-written email and pulls from an incredibly well-written source that we just had to freaking include it. Thank you, Brian. This is a hell of an email. And I really do recommend everyone goes check this out over at serlin.net/PTW. Talks a lot about competitive Street Fighter and other games. That's what a lot of this is drawing in from, but it can absolutely be applied to really competitive thinking, I think, of any type of game. And I agree. And I feel like this is a good point for me to have yet another admission on today's episode. Jocelyn?
Garrett.
I was wrong about Face Hunter.
I know you were.
I know.
But it's okay. You're in a safe space right now.
All right. Chat room.
You can tell chat room. Chat
right?
room will back you up.
All right.
It's all right.
All right, everyone. I tried playing 6O's Face Hunter this past weekend, and it did not go well.
No, it did not go well for me either.
It didn't go well for me at all. I'm not accustomed to playing such an aggressive deck in the game of Hearthstone, and I just got destroyed. You cannot just go face mindlessly and win with this deck. And upon further discussion with friends of mine who are
in the know.
Let's say in the know, yes. It's a nice way of saying way better than anyone I know at this game. I had a really long, good discussion with some friends that may or may not work for certain companies. And we got into the discussion of this, of the belief that everyone should just play Face Hunter because the ladder is a grind. So if you want to hit Legend, you just need to do it faster. And then the point that my friend made was that if you're not 6-0 or a pro player who has a 63% or better win rate, that it's really you're not. Like, if you're playing that hunter and you're not good at it, and you're not winning 63% of your games or better, you're not doing yourself any favors. The speed of the deck is not actually helping you. So you can actually play a slower deck that you're more consistent with and have just as steady a climb to Legend. Well, not just as steady. Obviously, if you're as consistent as 6-0 is with a deck that is so fast, you're going to hit Legend faster. Mm-hmm. But if you are not as consistent as 6-0 is with a fast deck, you're just playing twice as many games with a faster deck. So what's the point? And that was a really good point that none of us brought up last week. And it was just way more eloquently put than I think any of the points that were brought up last week, and I wanted to mention it. And also...
it was great points because, man, I tried 6 or 7 times because it really started to get to me. Like, I was tweeting out how I was doing on my climb, and some of the responses were, oh, I just went X number of games and with Face Hunter, or just switch to Face Hunter and just, go faster, go faster, go faster. And so I finally gave in and I was like, okay, fine. I'm just going to hit the win button. I'm doing air quotes for those who can't see me. And I'm just going to play Face Hunter. And I literally, because I did also start using Hearthstone Deck Tracker. So if you guys aren't using that, it's a really cool tool that lets you know what you've drawn and what you haven't, and what your opponent has played. So then you can go, oh, have they used both Consecrates? Yep, they did. And it's a really cool tool. But anyways, back to Face Hunter. Hearthstone Deck Tracker also tracks your win rate with specific decks. 0%. Literally 0%. I just, for whatever reason, could not get the hang of it. I wasn't having fun, and I'm just like, okay, at least with my Pally deck and my Mech Mage deck, I'm still having some sort of fun. Hunter's not fun.
Yeah, well, it's like I know I got rather heated in the discussion last week, but it's like you can't say it like that, like it's a fact. It's not fun for you, and it's not fun for it's not a play style that I prefer. And yeah, and I mean, like for those who are interested, I've won some games with it, but what I started off with is like I've had so many discussions about the talk last week with friends and listeners and whatnot. I was like, well, let me put my money where my mouth is. I'm gonna copy the deck. I'm going to go in, and I'm going to go face every turn and see what happens. And I lost probably 5 games in a row until I was like, all right, now let me try the deck, trying trading and making informed decisions, and I started winning. Mm-hmm. So there's that. I'm an idiot.
There is no go-to win every game deck. And I think we've been saying similar things all the way through where, you play what you know, play what you're comfortable with. And it's not as easy as always go face or always trade or always anything. There is no always in Hearthstone. Otherwise, there would be one deck that always won and everyone would play it and everyone would be rank 1 legend. There'd just be one rank. That's it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like it hasn't really existed since the original Rogue when beta first launched. And you could coin out the Defiance ringleader, and things just snowballed out of control, and there was no turning back. It really, truly hasn't existed. Yes, there have been peaks and valleys where there's been maybe 2 or 3 really amazing decks that are just so far above the rest of the competition that nothing else really compared. But that is definitely not the case now. Mm-hmm. Couldn't be.
And I found too, my games with Hunter, and I mean, I ended up losing all of them, but they weren't even that fast. Because I was sitting there for like the whole entire, I was going to the rope every single turn because I'm just like, okay, wait, fate, no, trade, no face, no, wait. And I was like, this isn't fast anymore. I'm taking the full like 2 minutes every single time.
Yeah, no, I mean, any deck you want to get good at, you're not going to go net deck a deck and just immediately start destroying face. You need to. You're just going to have to... There's no substitute for logging hundreds of games. True. And this Paladin deck, which I appear to have stuck with longer than I think maybe any deck before, I'm really noticing that. Because I, very much like you, tend to swap decks a lot within a season. I'd like to learn how to play different decks because I like to be able to talk about them on the show.
Well, I mean, I have never cared about my rank before. I've always just gone in and I've tried different things and I've played fun stuff that I find online. I've played things that I know we're going to talk about for the show, and I've played things that I've made myself, and that's usually what I do with my season. I only tried to see how high I could get once, and I just kind of made it up to 9 in about a week and a half right at the end of the season, and I was like, yay, I got to single digits. That's good enough for me, and I stopped and I started just doing whatever the hell I wanted again. So, I mean, there's something to be said for sticking with a deck and really enjoying what you're doing and pushing it through. And for me, that's definitely Pally right now. But yeah, no, I don't think that there's ever been a time where I've just sat down, net decked, and won and enjoyed it.
I think maybe when Zoo first came out.
Yeah, I guess Zoo I had a pretty high win rate, I think.
I'm like
pretty straight off the bat.
It came pretty naturally because
that
it's just like
a very new player friendly deck, and that's something that we get a lot of emails about as well. Is where to start as a new player, and really and truly, Zoo Warlock is the place to start as a new player. It's cheap and it's fairly easy because everything seems to synergize with everything else. So
yeah, absolutely. It's like a lot of folks asking where to start with Magic. It's like, well, if you had to pick one color, I don't know, red's the most straightforward. There's a lot of just direct damage and relatively cheap dudes that just attack. There's not a whole lot of fancy stuff. And on the opposite end of that spectrum is blue, where it's just like, well, I don't know, I need a master screen like theory to understand this one card. But yeah, it's fine. Everything.
And when I say, I should clarify because chat room's saying that Zoo hasn't really been in the meta. It's true. Zoo is not nearly as prevalent as it used to be. I just mean like if you are a brand new player, you want to play from 25 to 20 or in casual mode or whatever, you just want to learn the game and learn how to build a deck and learn synergy, Zoo is a really good place to start.
Yeah, I agree. I think, it's still, for a lot of free-to-play players, it's definitely a route you can go. Because cheap cards, still relatively efficient. A lot of the, my friends who've played very casually, their only goal is to hit 20 every season. Sulak can totally hit 20. No problem whatsoever. So, anyways, but damn it, Brian from the Philippines,
Thank
Hell
you.
of an email, sir. Jocelyn.
I was like, why are you saying damn it? I'm just what Garrett means by damn it is thank you.
It's just so good. I just have to slam my fist down and say damn. But Jocelyn, if you want to take the next email, that would be wonderful.
Sure. The next email comes to us from Bolladore. He says, hello, red hot peeps. I've been trying out a new druid deck and it's going pretty well. I was working on climbing the ladder and won a few games in a row and was feeling pretty good about myself. After a particularly crushing win, I received a friend request. Now, on your show, I've heard about people getting a friend request that receive nasty messages. It happened. After a quick blurb of extremely offensive and rather unintelligent words, and I'm not going to repeat what some of those were, a player quickly defriended me, so I couldn't offer a rebuttal. I wasn't offended. I assumed the person on the other end was illiterate and just needed to vent. But what do you guys think about the fact that they can send these messages and then just defriend without leaving a trail for me to be able to report them to Blizzard? I think there should be a way to keep messages and what they say and who they are. So if this does occur, that Blizzard can has a way of taking care of it. I don't want to end up without any friends because I'm worried I will get chewed out for winning. Thanks for taking my email and love the show. So you can see who the last person was that you played. So whether they friend you, unfriend you, whatever, you can still see the battle tag of who you last played. And then Garrett, I'm not 100% sure, and maybe you can weigh in on this, but I mean, just because you don't have a record of what was said doesn't mean that Blizzard doesn't have a record of what was said.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I feel like it's the kind of thing that probably sticks around for a little bit, some sort of chatty history something.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if it was particularly egregious, I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because then it'd be hard. But I think your tip about you can see the last person you played is great. Obviously, if you're like me and you just, next game, it's going to have some issues. But I don't know. It's just kind of, again, kind of an artifact of how streamlined Hearthstone's chat UI is. Mm-hmm. There's really no
I guess you can't
whatsoever.
see the numbers, because when they first came out with that feature, you could see the battle tag numbers. Now you can only see their name, and there's an add friend option.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it used to be that you could see their full battle tag.
Every other Blizzard game has a way to report someone for something. Mm-hmm. Even Heroes of the Storm, which is in very early beta. But Hearthstone, for whatever reason, doesn't have an in-game report feature. I'm going to assume that, like a lot of the things that we sit here and armchair develop and cry and whine and pray gets added to the game tomorrow, that it's probably in support of keeping the UI as clean and as simple as possible. I've been playing on the iPad a lot lately, which previously I used to not at all, because I love not making mistakes, which I tend to do a lot with the touchscreen. And the chat client on there is cluttered, but it works perfectly. But I can't imagine. I don't know where they'd have room to add anything else. I don't know. So at the moment, we just have to email them and include the person's name, which is not the best way to do it. I'm sure that I'm sure it'll get better in the future, but I can't imagine that this is really high on their priority list, because chat already doesn't exist. So for this to even happen, you have to accept that person's friend request in the first place, which I agree with the rebuttal I already hear in my head from people, which is, well, that's just antisocial in a game that's already particularly antisocial.
Well, I mean, you can always add people, and then you just have to kind of take it with a grain of salt if you actually do get messages like this. You just have to kind of shrug it off, because, that person's just mad. And, I mean, for me at least, because I know I'm normally the person who is extremely oversensitive to comments on YouTube, comments on Twitter, comments in Twitch chat, and we've talked about it on the show before. Like, I can't just let stuff go. I take it all really, really personally. That is one thing that I don't take personally, because they don't know me. They just went up against my deck. I wrecked them and they're pissed, and you walk away. And that's the one kind of like just stream of anger that just doesn't get to me.
Yeah, no,
I was like, Garrett, you're making Garrett face. What?
No, I just really agree with you. I'm kind of the same way. Like, if anyone comes to me and is like, oh, this jerk on the internet's really getting to me, I always say the same thing. I'm just like, don't let it get to you. Why should you care about the opinion of someone you don't know? You don't know who they are. they could like picture them as literally the worst possible human being you can come up with in your mind. And then just carry that image with you. And anytime you see something that's truly just vitriolic and devoid of any merit, just pop that like, oh, look at the little, racist Hitler child. Like, that's the first thing that popped in my head. I'm sorry.
That actually sums up all of the insults that I see on a daily basis into one thing.
I'm sure in yours you also add sexist too.
Oh yeah.
To that string of affixes, but no, I'm the same way. Like, I obviously I tell everyone, who gives a, I don't care what anyone thinks. F them if they don't like what I'm doing. Then they can go vote with their ears. They can listen to something else.
Well, yeah.
But clearly, yes, I am bothered by some things I see on the internet.
But that's just one of the things that you take the risk knowing that you might get a whole bunch of anger to the face, but really, like, who cares, because you could come out of it with a friend, because I've had that happen once maybe where somebody's actually added me and we've had a good conversation and it's been like, oh wow, like that it was way early on. It's not quite the same now, but still, it can happen. And I really think that if you're looking for friends and you're looking for people who want to play Hearthstone with you, then accept every friend request, knowing, especially if you just won, hard. There's one of two things that could possibly happen. The first thing is exactly what happened to you. And the second is somebody is genuinely interested. It's a deck they've never seen, and they want to, talk to you about it, get your deck list, whatever. So it could be one of two things. They're kind of extremes, and you just have to deal with one with the possibility of the other.
Yeah, absolutely. And lately I feel like I've had a bit of a tougher skin for this because with the significantly wider access to the Heroes of the Storm beta, which I also play quite a bit of. Man, the jerk scale is just like the needle broke off. There's so many jerks in that game now.
I know. I played with one the other day.
But it's fine.
I don't. Garrett guy?
Man,
he's
that
so
Garrett
mean.
dude is the biggest D-bag ever. Ever. Like, that guy, he started hating on Lily. Now he plays Lily. Like, he's just terrible person. Don't play with him. But I don't know. Part of me, I don't know why we even get all bent out of shape about this kind of thing. I know we all played on Xbox Live in the early days, and I don't know about you, but like in the really early days of Call of Duty being all the rage, the way I played, I got in, instant muted just everybody, and it was fine. Yeah. I didn't care. I knew I knew what I was getting into, and I knew what I had to do to make it a better experience for myself. So if you're getting a lot of these messages, just don't accept friend requests if it bothers you that much.
That too.
So. Other than that, F jerks, man. F jerks. That's all I have to say. That'll do it for this week's episode of The Angry Chicken, I think. Thank you all for your emails. Again, you can send them to tacpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to talk about something we talked about this week, you have your own story to share, want to submit a story, you can do that there. You can also go to the tacpodcast.reddit.com to submit stories and up vote, downvote, things that already exist over there. So before we leave, we always want to thank our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/TAC for supporting our show. This week we wanted to thank Noah R., Tim S., Stephen D., Falana, and Elizabeth. Thank you all very much for supporting The Angry Chicken. If you've been on the fence about becoming a patron, if you do become a patron, you get access to the TAC Skype account for the patron call-in episodes, as well as the after show video the same day as the regular episode. Everyone else gets it a week later. Yeah. And also, if you're leaving us reviews on the iTunes store, we really appreciate it. Thank you to Kramelsberg, Billy T3, and Protobiont. Thank you for your reviews. Protobiont sounds like, I don't know, like he's going to be starring in that Chappie film, like as a side star robot. I don't know.
Side star robot?
I don't know. Best supporting robot. Protobiont. We're going into Oscar season here. I'm starting to think about, what robots will be up next year. This joke has gone on too far. It's not funny.
It really has.
The Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv and the Frog Pants Studios. Check out frogpants.com, guys. Wonderful shows over there. Past live shows and other videos can be found on youtube.com/StarcastShow. You can get the Angry Chicken t-shirt from slashloot.com. You have to spell out slash. You can't just do a backslash or a forward slash. loot.com for those Angry Chicken t-shirts. Follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast. We record live every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/AMoveTV or at alphageekradio.com. And a big thanks to Brian Griffith for our intro music. Check out his work over at briangriffithmusic.com. Jocelyn, when you are not being the most furious of fowls, where can folks find you?
They can find me right here on AMove TV every Friday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That is for the Gamers In podcast. We also do a live stream of community games on Thursday night. That's called Gamers In Game Night. We do that over on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/GISgamer, which is also my Twitter.
Which folks should follow.
Yes, they
and
should.
Support.
Oh, yeah, the hashtag. Don't forget to follow the hashtag, JossToLegend. Thank you for reminding me. And if you want to keep up with the community, you can use the hashtag KeepUpWithJoss, and that is filled with people who are trying to also ladder up as far as they possibly can this season. It's a really great community. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I am loving the climb because of you.
As our good friend Scott Johnson would say, #JossTheLegend. If folks want to follow me on Twitter, I can be found at GarrettArt. That's GarrettArt. Or over at nomoonart.com for my graphic design work. If you need a freelance graphic designer, check it out. There's a contact form right on there. It goes straight to me. I will see it. I respond to all of them. If you need a freelance graphic designer, check it out. And also, check out Into the Nexus, because you know you're excited for Heroes of the Storm. Everyone can get in now if you want to pay. There's giveaways happening everywhere. We just got one key. I need to figure out how we're giving away. So check it out. Into the Nexus with me and Kyle Ferguson every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on twitch.tv/AMoveTV or on the iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Also, don't forget to check out our sponsors, Doghouse Systems. They make amazing gaming rigs. I'm recording on one right now. I'm streaming through one right now. I play all of my games not on one right now, because that would be bad, and I'd be even more ADD than I already am with our wonderful chat room. So, but check them out, doghousesystems.com. Use the code TAC, and you will get double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig and support the Angry Chicken directly in the process. We thank them for their support. We thank you all for listening. We will see you next week for episode 67 of the Angry Chicken, and until then, job's done.
Job's done.